like all the time. I be missing you when you're not around. Missing you when you by my side. Missing you like all the time, my baby boo, when you're not around. Shout out to everybody jumping on SHU Radio today. Much love to y'all. I see y'all. C-Mac, I see you. Castro, Tony Bosco, Booker O, I see you. Shout out to everybody. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna get right on to this. Time is money, and this individual. I know they're expensive because they do a lot of good work, and if they're not expensive, they need to be, because looking at the accolades, right? And before we get into it, if you saw the post today, I did a post, and in the post, the humbleness of this individual, Noli Dee, as to be exact, say, you know what, it's not quite all that. And I'm glad someone in the post came back and doubled up like, nah. It is. And if they don't know, they need to know. We're talking about media, professional, entertainment personnel, artist advocate, research specialist. I could keep going down there. I could go down the line. We talking about radio. We talking about independent artists, advocacy, 501c3. Like I don't think I have enough, what they say, digits to accommodate what this individual do. And without further ado, because I want to know how someone goes around and do all this, right? So without further ado, let's bring on Noli Dee. Let's get a round of applause. Noli Dee, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So I was given the someone said the drum roll. That is correct. The drum roll. When I first posted I was in such a conflict of what to highlight. I was trying to crunch all the information that I knew of you in a post, which was very difficult to just do. Like, and even when I did that, and I was like, man, I didn't serve the justice that I felt. And the humbleness of you, like, nah, I don't know if this is what it is, but yes, it is. And we're going to get to that today, that it is. I see you've been involved in many things, but I want to talk about what got you into this world of media. Like, you it wasn't just a boom and one day you did everything. Let's talk about a little bit of you getting into the media world. How did that start?
Well, it started at the beginning of COVID, really, to be honest with you. There was this independent band called Gangsta Grass who decided to take everything online. Like, they can't do shows live, so they're going to start doing them online. So they started playing games with people, and I got quite close to a few of them, to Wrench and to Dolio and to our son, the voice of reason, to be honest. And I felt like, man, me donating to them and trying to help them out, whatever way I can, bringing people to their live feed, that just wasn't enough. So I started looking stuff up. And I thought, maybe I can get them on my local radio. And so I started making phone calls. And when the phone calls didn't work, I decided, I'm going to go over there.
Okay.
I'm going to make them listen to these guys because they were very unique. They kind of were the ones, in my opinion, who started the whole bluegrass hip-hop mix sound.
Okay.
And if you've ever heard of a show called Justified.
Yeah.
It was on TNT like a few years back. They did all the music for that show and did the opening theme song for that show.
Nice.
Well, I started getting them, gaining, speed, getting them onto the radio. And I'm like, awesome, this is great. Well, then I meet Marty Ray for the Marty Ray Project. And I love his music. But I'm like, why am I not hearing it on the radio? I spend most of my time in my car. I don't know about you, but, and I listen to the radio. I don't listen to CDs or whatever. I listen to local radio.
Yeah.
And so I started getting him on the radio. And it kind of just snowballed from there. A friend of mine who was absolutely in love with Mayday was like, I never hear them on the radio. And I'm like, well, let me see if I can get their permission to submit for them. Because I wouldn't do it without permission. I needed the IRSC numbers and everything. So,
Yes.
you know, I reached out and they got back to me. Well, Recognize got back to me. And we started building a relationship. I started working closely with him. And then I started doing booking once, you know, COVID was, well, there was, even during COVID, there was some booking that was going on in certain states with certain artists. But it just kind of grew from there. I ended up working with Rudy from Stay on Beat. When I started working with him, that was about a year ago. I started picking up, well, at the time I had probably 8 or 9 artists that I was working with.
Okay.
And now I'm sitting at roughly 63. There's a couple of them that,
Hold on. Wait, I got to stop. You said 63.
63 artists or bands or groups.
Yeah. I know people who can't do 3. It's not very easy to do that. How do you maintain the poise to handle that amount of talent?
I make them do a lot of the work. You know, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share with them whatever gigs come across my desk. If I find any information that I think might be helpful to them, if I find a review show that's not trying to just take everybody's money, I will, you know, let them know where it's at. Some of them I will submit for until they get used to how I function.
Okay.
And then, you know, they take it back over. But I mean, I've had artists ask me to do their EPK for them, and I'm like, I don't know you.
That's right. I feel you.
You need to do that. You need to get me your EPK. You can't ask me to get your EPK for you. You need to know. No, it doesn't work like that. And then how I got into film, how did that happen? I don't know.
It just you.
I mean, I knew a few actors and I knew a few people who like China Okoye. He's amazing. He did the fight choreography and did the body double for the guy who played Morpheus on The Matrix.
Yes.
I knew him and I knew a handful of other people. And my friend Stevie, who does the show, I met a lot of people through her. And just because of mutual interests and, you know, inspiration of, hey, we can do this. Let's do this. That's really, it all starts out with an idea.
It does. It does.
And then educating yourself, looking stuff up, learning how to talk to people, learning how to do cold calls. Cold calls are hard to do. They're nerve-wracking. People don't want to hear you. They don't want to give you their 2 minutes. They're busy.
Yeah, you got to make it count.
You know, so you need to, I'm really strategic about how I do it. Before I even make a cold call, I'm going to go and hit up their social media. I'm going to see if I can't find something about them that I like. I'm going to make a intelligent comment and I'm going to like a few things and then I'm going to just step away.
Yeah.
A week later, I might do it again. And I mean, it takes time.
It does.
I've been at it since the beginning of COVID, and you know, I've still got a long way to go. I still have a lot to learn. I learned through mistakes, personal and from others. You know, I think it's really important to be open-minded and know that you don't know everything.
Everything.
No matter how long you've been doing it, you don't know everything. And even if you did know pretty much everything, there's somebody else out there who knows something you don't.
Yeah. Or knows it.
But I have found out that really it's all in the networking.
That is
true. It's all in the networking. You can get introduced to anybody. You can speak to anybody.
Now, I got a question. You used a good, powerful word, networking. And I think a lot of creatives and artists take that word for granted or superficially. What is the most important aspect of making, you know, a successful networking situation?
You know, being honest about where you're at. Don't inflate anything. Don't overpromise anything. If anything, underpromise and overdeliver is the best way to go. I tell people, okay, I'll get this thing back to you tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, when really I'm going to have it back to them tonight. At least that's my intentions, is to have it back to them tonight. You know, I think It's really important. You want to be able to surprise people and show them that you are reliable, you're honest, and you are trustworthy.
That is
And the
true.
only way you can do that is by giving, putting in the time and showing them that. You can't tell somebody, hey, I'm honest. Hey, I'm reliable. You
Not at
can't
all.
tell anybody that. And you can't listen to somebody else when they tell you that somebody isn't,
You got to find out for
because
yourself.
everybody has that bad moment,
Yeah.
You have to learn for yourself and be cautious, but be willing to cover your ass, but move forward. Make plans.
Make
Set
plan.
a date. If they don't show up, then hey, you know that you can't rely on that person.
That is true. Now, dealing with a lot of talents that you do deal with, I know you come across a lot of individuals who approach and do things wrong. In this climate of today, what do you think is the flaw or the error that artists and creatives take when trying to make that connection with someone that has something they need or want?
Being aggressive, being in your face aggressive, and like with the review shows, don't go into those shows and repeatedly be like, play me, play me, play me. Hey, play this, play this, play this. Don't do that. Be there and just talk with the people that are in that live feed, because you never know who's on the other end of that computer or on the other end of that phone,
You,
and what you can build together, as long as you are there being supportive of what they've got going on, what they're doing. Be the support you want from others.
that is so true. That is so true.
And a
Now,
lot of people don't know how to do that.
no, they
They
don't.
just listen to me, no, listen to me, no, listen to me. And that's, if you want people to listen to you, you need to listen to them.
I like that. It goes. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. How do you as an individual, with the knowledge and the drive and passion to do and make a lot of things happen, balance or protect that when we're in the business of the wolves and the leeches and the iguanas and hyenas and everybody who wants to consume without giving anything? How do you as an individual protect that?
What I try to do is remember that there's nothing that these people are doing that I can't do for myself. We can make your group of supporters small, and if a very wise woman told me, I'm not going to put in more work for your career than you're willing to put in yourself.
Yeah.
And I fully, wholeheartedly agree with that, Miss Jackson. You are a smart lady. And I also believe that, if it feels unreal, it's unreal. If it feels scammy, it's scammy.
Okay.
Trust your gut when it comes to those
You
things.
you you follow that gut instinct.
And learn the law. There are legal protections out there, that very few, but there are legal protections out there for artists. When it comes to pay to play, the Payola Act.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're familiar.
Oh, most definite.
If they want money from you and they're not putting that up front, like if you go to their website and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to play your music, da, 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 and then you get to the very end and they want money, they're violating the Payola Act.
Yeah.
Because they're not being transparent and upfront about, them charging to play your music.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
We know how that goes. We know how that goes, and it's happening
yeah.
as we speak right now. That transaction is happening right as we speak. For you, and I know you said you started in the pandemic. What was that drive and force? I know you came across the group that you really love, Gangsta Grass, I believe, and wanted to make sure they got heard on the radio. But what was that drive that kept you going after that? Because a lot of people started a lot of things during pandemic. People found creativity and passion in a hobby that they never knew, and then when things simmered down, they stopped. But you kept going. You kept climbing. You kept proceeding in that direction. What was that drive? What was that feel?
I honestly, it was just hearing the amazing talent that was out there and asking myself, how would I want to be treated if I had something so amazing and nobody was taking notice? I'm a firm believer that we are all connected. We are all part of each other. I believe that the way I treat you, I'm also at the same time treating myself because of that connection. Um, and so I just keep thinking that way, and I keep moving that way the best that I can. That doesn't mean that I'm going to take any abuse or any bullshit, because I won't. I might one or two times, but as soon as I realize you're taking advantage, you're going too far, or you're pushing me, I'm going to call you out, and we're going to talk about it. And if changes don't happen, then I'm going to walk away. I do, protect myself in that way. But the amazing work that people do is really what's kept me motivated. There's a few times where I've thought, oh, I'm just done with this, but it lasted moments because I've seen somebody really excited about a new song that they just created and wanting me to hear it.
Yeah.
And that would get me excited. Like, don't tell me you got a new song and then not let me hear it. That is the rudest shit you can do. Don't ever tell me that.
I get that. Now, I wanna kind of shift in a different direction for the moment, and I want to talk about the Real News Network.
Oh, okay.
I want to talk a little bit about that, and I know you are a research contributor. How important, and I know the answer to this, but I want you to reiterate how important, with all the access of information there is, how important it is for people to do their research on any particular thing that they engage in, and what's some of the misconceptions of researching things.
Hang on just a moment. I got
Not a problem.
that is being noisy. There we go. So you want to be careful about what you repeat. You want to be careful about what you share, and you want to be careful about what you take in. So to know the truth about something that's going on that you're not personally involved in, you want to take your time and not just do the research on one side of the fence, but on both sides of the fence. You want to get the facts. If there's video footage, you want to get that. If there's documentation, you want to get that. You want to make sure that people are reliable in telling you the truth before you repeat that information. With the Real News Network, the best thing I can suggest if you're doing something like that. Now, with the Real News Network, the segment that I work with is called the Police Accountability Report.
That's correct.
It is where we call out bad policing, them violating people's rights, them abusing people, killing people. The most recent one, the woman who was in a domestic violence situation, and the cops barged in and they killed her 3-month-old baby and then her.
Yeah.
Like within moments of walking in, like for no reason. She had no weapon or anything. The reason we know this is because of all the eyewitness statements. Now, mind you, the cops didn't say this. The cops said she had a weapon. Never, ever, ever trust what the news or the police are telling you right off the bat. And maybe it was everybody. Trust but verify. It's really important. These people's lives matter. They are loved. They are important to somebody. Maybe not you, but somebody. And their lives being snuffed out early is a big deal. Their lives being destroyed because of being arrested for something they were not guilty of, or being arrested because they decided to stand on their rights and say, no, I'm going to continue filming. It is my right to film you.
That's right.
You just keep doing your job and pretend like I'm not here. And to see somebody get beaten and arrested for that is just...
Yeah.
It's common. I'm used to it now. But a lot of people, they are still out there in this make-believe world where police are good and that they don't lie, and that they don't do things out of retaliation, but they do.
Yeah. Most definitely do. You spoke about media and filming during those situations. For those creatives, everyone right now is partaking in some shape, form, or fashion as a content creator. But with the advice as someone who does police accountability reports, research information, for content creators, what are some of the risks or things that they should be informed of while filming anything in your viewpoint as a professional?
Okay, so if you're filming in public, and I don't care what you're filming, if you are in public, you have the right to film. You have the right to take photographs. You have the right to record.
There you go.
But people are going to get pissed. They're going to get irritated. They're not going to want you to film them. In my opinion, my suggestion is to just not film them then, unless they're a cop or they are a public official of some kind. If they have a government contract, then they really have no right to tell you not to film them, because it is your right to film them. And honestly, your responsibility. If you see somebody pulled over outside your home or on your way to work, stop, get out, turn your phone on, hit the camera button, and record. Stay quiet, don't intervene. Make sure you can hear everything, make sure you can see everything. Because that can be the difference between somebody living or dying that day.
Yeah, big difference. Yeah, with whether you have the right or not.
If you're going to be filming, especially police, you definitely want to have bail money set aside, or collateral for bail, or you want to have a good relationship with a bondsman, because you will eventually get arrested for it. Yes, This is a violation of your rights. Make sure you notify the police, put them on notice immediately that they are violating your rights and that they will lose their qualified immunity, because you are notifying them of what rights they are violating. If you don't know your rights, contact me. I'll talk to you about them.
Contact me. In the seconds of this conversation, I could hear the fire. I can hear the fire in you, like in the stance of doing right and making sure people know their rights. I could hear that in you. So just to lighten it up a little bit, with that same fire that you have, when artists are pursuing going into this industry, if you could give the artists that advice of how to transition into this facility, into this industry, what that advice would be to that typical artist?
Do your own legwork. Make sure that you are reading your contracts. And if a cold call doesn't work, if a cold email doesn't work, show up. Just show up.
I like that. You just show up. Do it. Put some energy on it.
Don't be disrespectful. Just show up. I'd be like, hey, I called and I emailed, and I really want you to listen to my music. I really think it would, be a great fit for your venue. Do your research. Make sure and listen to the radio stations you submit to.
Yeah, that's a big one. Make
sure and go and check out the bar or look it up on Yelp or whatever and see what kind of music they are playing. Because you do not want to send, some sappy love song that's kind of slow and quiet to like a rap station or to a venue who mostly, focuses on rap artists. You don't want to do that. Yeah, you're probably going to have to pay to open for some people, but take advantage of those situations if you can afford it.
Yes.
I don't like it. I think it's a bunch of crap, but it's how they do their thing. I don't know. In the music industry, it seems like everybody is out to take money from the artist, and instead of the artist being paid, they're being left holding a bill, which frustrates the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Because that's unfair. an artist. I have friends who are they have platinum selling albums, like two of them, and every single one of them in that band has to work a day job. One of them is a college professor and has to work that job because there's no way they'd ever be able to survive off of what they're making. So don't expect to make a ton of money. It's just not there anymore. If you want to make a ton of money, go into Christian rap because that's where the money's at.
I feel you. You most definitely have to find your lane and your aim. You can't just wander in this industry because that ain't gonna work out for you. We do have a question from the feed, and one of the questions is, how did you transition into music supervisor and film? Like, how did you transition into that?
Okay, well, so that kind of happened just from me submitting music for sync licensing, which is something else I got into. I had a few friends who are independent filmmakers, and they needed music for their films, and I just started, paying attention and saying, hey, check this out. You're going to love this. I am currently working on 3 film projects right now. One of which, is going to be really exciting, but really unique. And, God, I signed an NDA. I don't know how much I can say.
Okay, I get that. We don't want you to break that. Me, I be breaking NDAs
I don't want to
left
break
and right.
anyone's trust.
But we don't want to do that to you. Me, they be mad with me all day. But we don't want to do that to you. But I do want to ask you with how technology is right now compared to how the game used to be. What are your pluses and negatives to how we utilize technology as artists and creatives?
I think it's great because it gives the artists a chance to promote themselves and to see how hard it is to do all that stuff yourself. I mean, these people out here who are making their own beats and recording their own music in their home studio, and then mixing and mastering their own work, and then promoting themselves and designing the lighting and the choreography for their shows and setting up the sound design. That stuff is really hard, and it takes a lot of education to do. That's not just something that you could just do, and you can't expect others to just do it for you for free. But with all the technology out there today, it has made it easier for it to be done. So I think that it is easier that way, but it has flooded the market in a way that to some is bad, but I kind of think it's good, because I think that with the way things are going in the music industry, the big 3 can be taken down.
Okay.
I think they can be made obsolete. And I think people can take their careers in their own hands.
Most definitely. We can,
and that's all thanks to technology.
Yeah, most definitely can take. Right now, you can do it. Like, the possibility is it's not like an if at all. It's most definitely something that is possible. On this show, we ask everybody this question. We ask everybody, with all the information that you have now and obtain, if you could look back at the younger version of you and share something with the younger version of you that you can apply, what would that be?
Self-education. I think that public schools are ran by the government for a reason. Public access television ran by the government for a reason. The FCC is there for a reason. They don't call it television programming for nothing.
Not at all.
Don't listen to what you're being told. Find out for yourself.
And that's one to grow on, because There's a lot of things that we were fed for years that we held as factual, truthful, and it wasn't. We have Golden 562 said, "Love you, Noli,
Love you.
love you, Noli," with the three hearts for you, three hearts for you. You have sparked a lot of warmth from a lot of people in our feed, and I can take it is because of what you put out, the energy that you give, and offer to many creatives and talents all over. For you, I know how easy it is for to be absorbed, how people come to me, and it's not with malice, but they come to me to get something. As you, I know what I use, but what do you use as an individual to regenerate or maintain that passion so you're not just drained dry or running on E?
You know, I feed off of their passion. And as long as they are showing kindness and willingness to lift up their peers, that gives me all I need. As long as I'm seeing the people, as long as I'm noticing that I have an effect on people in a way that is changing them to where they're not being quite so self-absorbed. They're not forgetting themselves, but they're willing to support others and be there for others, other artists especially. Because honestly, if you picked one artist a week to just let them know that they're doing a great job and to keep moving forward, and you just do that every single week, those kind words can make a huge difference, not just in their life, but in every other life that they touch. Because they'll take that piece of positivity with them.
That's right.
And I think that's how I kind of keep it going, is I try to strive and be in that mirror.
That's powerful. You're getting a lot of people saying like you're the absolute best person on this planet. They said you're a real support and in this selfish and cutthroat industry. So you have affected a lot of people who will in turn keep reflecting that effect going into this industry. So I just want to give you a round of applause for that in itself. As an industry professional, it's really rare to find a lot of people who are not just passionate about the industry, but passionate about the creative. Like the allure of the industry is very bright and it has a lot of whistles and bells and shiny things, but it's rare that you find someone who's happy and celebrate people doing their expression in that superficial world. So salute to you. Now I'm gonna ask you a question that I've never asked anyone on the show. And the reason why I'm asking you, because I like the way you think and the things that you do. If you right now had the keys to this industry, the music industry, and they said, you know what, Noli Dee, what do we need to do right now to make this a better industry for everyone? What would you do? I want to hear what would you do?
Fair pay and equal access.
Say that again?
Fair pay and equal access.
Fair pay and equal access. So fair pay for...
I don't think that there should be Beyoncés out there making billions when I've heard and seen and worked with people who I think are far better than her. And they are working 3 jobs. Or they happen to not have the right look. Or they're physically disabled in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not, they don't get the attention that they deserve. Their talent deserves.
Yeah.
I think that's fair pay and equal access. I would definitely change that around. I don't think that one person should be making all the money off of someone else's creativity, someone else's hard work, someone else's live performances.
That's very interesting viewpoint, because we understand that the tipping scale isn't as flat as we think it is. It most definitely tips heavy We do have some. We do have some questions. Miss J is jumping. Miss J, I'm getting to the nonprofit. Let me work my work, man. Let me work my work. She is on it. But I did want to discuss, sync. You mentioned earlier about sync, and sync is a hot topic right now for a lot of artists. Sync is something that I've always dabbled in for years before I even understood what I was doing. I was dabbling in the sync. But let's talk a little bit about sync and how you were able to get into that world and how beneficial it is for artists to explore that.
Okay, well, with sync, I was interested in it just because people were telling me that that's where the money was, and I wanted to see my artists get a paycheck, from their hard work that they've been putting their whole world into for some decades. And so I started doing the research, doing the footwork, talking to people. And here recently, just a couple of months ago, there was an ad on Instagram for this app that MusicBed had, telling people, hey, if you need music for your films, come over here. Well, I decided I'm going to DM them. They won't DM me back, but I'm going to DM them. And I said, so what about for artists? How do they submit music to you? And somebody by the next day replied and was like, well, we're not really taking music submissions right now, but I'll tell you what, take this link, mention my name, and go ahead and submit. And if you have multiple artists, do it this way. And if you have just one, do it this way. And we had a great conversation. And now I submit once a month on the 9th of every month, a huge list of music from artists, many different artists, that I have sitting on a new YouTube page that I started, because I can't cross. I got to be careful. I'm very political and I'm an activist, and I'm very loud about how I feel about certain things.
Yeah.
And my main channel on YouTube that's all it's about, is activism and calling out the government, really, for their shady bullshit.
I get it.
And so I had to make a new account, and now I use that to I invite people to add their music. They join the little collaboration group every month, and they submit their music. And I laid down the rules right away. Anybody who breaks them, they're just gone. I'm not even going to bother to let them know. I'm just going to remove their music before I send the list off. Mutual respect is really important to me. And when I'm telling you, this is how you can respect me, this is how you can respect others, I expect you to try. But if you blatantly disregard it, then I know that, there's no chance for us to work together and be cohesive. But so I've been doing that for a couple of months now, and it's been great. And on top of that, it kind of all started out with my friends' films.
Okay. Nice.
Getting music on them. So.
Nice. And I like how you mentioned, like, you saw something on Instagram and you kind of reached out. I think that's one element that a lot of artists really, they going for the quick idea of connection, when there's a lot of networking that could happen before them if they even give it a shot. So even telling that story, how and as complex as that world of sync could be, look how simple the action was to make a bridge into something. So for everybody out there, especially on the MJMG app, that we cannot see your comments, but everybody on Instagram, take that story right there as an example of taking that shot, taking that chance, and your approach on how you do it can make the world of a difference between the yay, no, and making something happen. Speaking of things and making things happen, I do know that you.
One more thing about sync, if you don't mind. Actually.
Oh no, please. You got 1, 2, 3, 4,
one more
5.
Thing. There is a pitfall when it comes to sync. They are just like everybody else, and they want your money. They want money. They want to make money off of your work.
Yes.
So the average sync fee that they are going to, or that they're going to take from you, the agency, to be the middleman, to pass it on to the music supervisor to whatever film. Their sync fee is on average 50%. There are some that charge 25 or 30, but you will rarely see anything below 25. And average is going to be 50%, and you need to be prepared. And that's just with most of them. That's with the
companies, right?
the royalties.
Yes.
They will give you your full sync fee, your upfront payment, but your royalties, like 50% of them, are going to go back to them. So you really want to think about it. Do you want to use somebody who might get you a sync deal or a sync agreement, or do you want to take your time and introduce yourself, go to LinkedIn and introduce yourself to music supervisors or people that work in the film industry? Best bet is a music supervisor's assistant. Go make friends with them. Be honest and be real about what you're doing, but don't ask for any favors. Don't, hey, look at me. Don't do that to them, because they get enough of it.
All day.
Instead of making it about yourself, make it about them and show interest in what they're doing.
Yes. I love that.
Really makes a difference.
And to add to that, if you can, and I'm sharing, if you can, and this is something I do, I actually pay a lawyer to find their lawyer. And that's really helped me a lot in the conversation, because the conversation is no more like we're on the same playing field. It's a little bit more respected in the approach. So I've used that a lot.
You have a mouthpiece. That's what I call attorneys anyway, is they are your mouthpiece.
So most definite. But speaking of your advocacy and a lot of the work, we do see that you conducted extensive researches into 501c3 organizations. So let's talk a little bit about that space and what that world means to you and your passion, because you don't do anything that you're not passionate in. So let's talk a little bit about.
Honestly, there isn't. There's nothing I do that I don't feel strongly about, and so I get excited really easy. That might be part of like what keeps me going, is that I can get myself excited about something. But with 501c3s, so they have to report their taxes, and it's publicly accessible.
Yep.
All you got to do is search it online, and you can see where the money's really going. When you notice that, okay, wait a minute, they just gave billions of dollars to, these agencies to help house the homeless. How come there's still so many homeless people? Well, let me tell you why. Because the CEO and the executives of these places are paying themselves on average around $900,000 a year. That's almost $1 million a year, you guys.
Yeah.
But then, and that's just for one person. And then they will, utilize this, wording in contracts so that they can get their housing paid for, or so that they can get their country club paid for. That is what, there is a big outfit, 501c3, that is for actors, and they were bragging about how much they had donated during the writer's strike. They had donated $2 million to over 2,000 people for an 11-month period. Do the math.
Yeah.
They didn't even cover anybody's rent.
Yeah, most definitely. It sounds good because of the bulk.
But they are paying that one person in that group is between the housing and the country club payments and their salary. They're making like $3 million a year. One person.
Yeah, most definitely.
They're taking all the money away from these small 501c3s who have good intentions, who really want to help their community, really want to help people succeed on their pathway to whatever they're going towards, whether it's to own a home, or it's to make their first album, or it's to, make a career out of something and give back to their own neighborhood in some way. They're taking money from these smaller 501c3s.
Yep.
And they're spending it on themselves. And that's just maddening. No. And so I kind of, me along with somebody else, we are going to help try and change that.
I love that. I've had my nonprofit since 2016. I've never gotten a grant.
Let me try and help you do that.
I've never gotten a
Let me try
grant.
and help you get some grants.
Since 2016, I was like, you know what? F this. I'm gonna put in the work. I see how this is looking. I gotta talk to these kids in the street. I'm gonna do it, and I made my way. But we'll conversate on that. But that is a space that I truly understand what you mean by that, and I could tell by your passion, you and your friend will most definitely make a difference in that space because you already made a difference in all the spaces you are in already. So now,
Thank you.
I do want to say something with all that you've done, all your passion, all the artists and individuals that you speak, and the feed is saying it itself. You know, people is showing much love, saying you're the most kindest person in the world, that you're the best. We know we're in the era of giving everybody their flowers. This is the era of it. But on this show, we like to give out honor because flowers do die, but honor lasts forever. So I just want to take this time to give you your honor and acknowledge you. Take this moment for all the stuff that you do, all the people that you affect, because who you affect will affect and will affect. And your storyboard of who you are will live on way longer than we all will and continue and snowballing. So I just wanted to take that time to give you your honor here on the show, and that's what we love doing here on SHU Radio. Just like DM the Most just said, he said Noli is the bomb. I wish I had the explosion button, but I don't. I just got a car crash. but I do, before we start wrapping up, I do want to ask you one question about you as an individual and not helping artists. Now, and I know we spoke about you making a difference, but totally about you. What's in store for you? Like what's next for you? I mean, I looked over your bio and it was like a criminal rap sheet, but a positive. It had the list of all these different things.
Yeah, I got one of those too, though. I got one of those too. If you want to see it, I'll send it to you. It's great. It reads wonderful.
With your advocacy background, I know for a fact you do. You're a rebel. You are a rebel with a cause, and a rebel that is helping a lot of people make do. But what's in store for you?
I think that I got a project that I'm on that is gonna open people's eyes, and it's going to change a lot of hearts and minds about some stuff. And I'm excited about that, and I can't wait to be in the midst of it while it's being filmed. It's an amazing project. It's going to be impactful. It's going to be so impactful that I think my name and the director's name is going to kind of live on forever because of this project.
Wow. I could imagine, again, you don't put your energy in anything that you don't believe and passionate about. I could tell by your dialogue you are under some restrictions of revealing it, so we're not going to poke too much, but we do know, and I want everybody to know, if you don't know, it's going to be amazing because everything Noli has been engaging and offering has been amazing. I want to just thank you again. Let's get another round. I want to thank you again for coming on the show, sharing knowledge, and also outside of this sharing knowledge, supporting. I've seen Noli. I've gone to different pages and different places, and she's there rooting, supporting, and that's a big thing in this field of business because she is being what she wants. And if everybody out there can take anything out of that, most definitely reflect the same things that you want to give off and have it return 360 to make it complete. But again, thank you for coming on the show. Before we go, because you are a woman of wise words, before you go, and I'm gonna stop all the music and all that. Before we go, could you give the world, everybody on MJMG app listening, and everybody on the feed right now that's saying how much they love you? I don't think this has been the most hearts I've seen all day. There's so many hearts going on. If there's any word of advice in any aspect or realm that you could share with us before we let you go, I got to get something now. I got to get a little bit more before we go. Could you please share that?
to truly be happy, love people the way you want to be loved. Because that's the only way you're ever going to truly feel like you matter, is when you make other people feel like they matter.
And that right there is a golden key right there, y'all. That's a golden ticket key. Cash it in, open up those doors. But the only true way to matter is to make people matter. I love it. And that right there might sound so simple, but we're not in a simple world. So make sure y'all make that difference. Matter in someone's life and let them matter to you. I love it. Thank you again for coming on the show. And
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Oh man, no, this was. And I don't know if you understand and know how much people you've touched, but I hope today, if you didn't know, I hope today you do, and you see it in the feed and the energy that you got. And just know that energy is gonna grow, because like you just said, you making people matter, you're gonna matter. And there's a lot of people right now that's showing you matter, so they're just reflecting what you are. Again, thank you, and you have a beautiful night.
You too. Thank you so much.
All right, you have a good one.
Bye guys. Thank you.
Shout out to everybody on the live. Yo, that was pretty dope. If y'all don't know Noli Dee, I'm just for those that just jumped on. Shout out to everybody that jumped on. If you caught it midway, I do want to just share real quick. Noli Dee is a media and entertainment professional, artist advocate, and research specialist. It sounds like a lot. You know why? Because it is a lot. She does a lot of things, from helping artists get placements, pushing them for radio, advocating for police, not for police, due to police misconducts, helping nonprofits, you name it, she's always helping others. And if you out there can take anything from today's conversation, I think that last piece was the bulk of what Noli means. Matter to someone, and they'll matter to you. And if you see, always pushing to help give advice to others. Now, I will say, disclaimer, use being mattering to people wisely, because some people don't honor it, and they'll just abuse you. But you feel it, you know it, and you know when. And when that time shows itself and reveals to yourself, you matter to someone, it's gonna take you far off on into your career. When I was in prison, a guy named Preacher once told me this, and I never understood it when he told me. Actually, when he said it to me, I wanted to punch him in his head, right? But Preacher looked at me and he said, Spud, when you get out there in that world and those people come to you for whatever they need or whatever, you got this information, he said, just give it away for free. And I looked at Preacher, and he's a God-fearing man, and I was like, fuck no. Right? I was like, hell no, I ain't giving nothing away for free, Preacher. They gotta pay for it. The game is not to be told, it's to be sold, yada yada yada. And I got out, and I started to come across people who needed things, whether it was information or the how-to, or how did you, not even the how-to, how did you, because the how-to changes, right? And I started to just share, and we do shows like this, and we do shows like the A&R Desk, where we just share. And like Noli said, and my point is going back to Noli, making people matter, giving life, giving information, giving inspiration to others fuels the value of you. So I go again. If you didn't get anything from this show today, take away that one little message. The more people you can give value to increases the value of you. Shout out to Music Masters by Noli. Shout out Noli. Shout out to everybody that's on the MJMG app that can't be heard or seen all over the world. I heard Philippines right now, I believe, is bubbling for us right now. So shout out to everybody across the globe, and shout out to the feed. I cannot stress the feed. We do this show to entertain, educate, and bring light to those that we're talking to and those that can be heard, right? Or hear. So shout out to y'all. Thank you for hanging out with me. This is MJMG Presents, SHU Radio, every Monday, 9:30 p.m., where we're highlighting talent and artists, giving the backstories, the front stories, and new stories for you to write in your own pages of your own story. With that being said, y'all have a good night. We're going to close it out with a song called Pressure off the MJMG Presents app. Shout out to MJMG Presents. Always trying to collaborate to help artists as well. Before I go, I just want to say one more thing. I'm inspired, right? Noli got me inspired. She said, damn caps. No, I'm honored to be here. Thank you. All caps. I love it. But I do want to share one thing before I go. I just want to share. Years ago, if some people might know the story. Years ago, I was part of the NYU Industry Essentials. I graduated. It was a year or something program. Graduated in like 28 days. They're like, hey, we want you to be our ambassador for the Clyde Davis, yada yada. And one day I get a DM. From a page, and I look at it, and the page, it wasn't that name now. I'm going to get to that story, right? And I got a DM from the page, and I opened up the DM, and the first thing I did was I went to the follows and the likes. And I got knocked off. Why they knocking me off? Why they knocking me off, bro? This is crazy, yo. Shout out to everybody on the app, MJMG Presents app. I don't know what happened, man. They keep just locking us off. I don't know what Instagram got against us, man. We didn't do anything wrong, but they just cut us off. But shout out to y'all. Much love to everybody out there, man. I hope y'all have a beautiful night. Be safe and keep